Today on the CTV News at 5, why buying a home or taking out a loan against one is getting more difficult for Canadians. Plus, why WestJet should look at landing in Lethbridge.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Want to buy a home? Better start saving your money. Ottawa is once again tightening mortgage rules for Canadians, making it even tougher to borrow for a home. The maximum length of an amortization period will drop to 25 years from 30. The total debt service ratio, in other words, the amount of your income that goes towards paying down all of your debt, including credit cards, everything, is fixed at 44%. Another change, the maximum amount of equity homeowners can pull out of their home when they refinance has been reduced from 85% to 80%, and government-backed insurance mortgages are only available for homes with a value of less than $1 million. The finance minister today acknowledged that at the height of the global economic crisis, the balance of Canadians were able to keep paying their mortgages, but in his words, he says today's changes are the government's attempt to stave off future problems when interest rates rise.
As witnessed in the United States, the health of a country's housing market can dictate the health of a broader economy. That's why our government continually monitors the housing market, ready to take proactive action and responsive action when necessary to ensure its ongoing strength. Indeed,
back in 2008, a 35-year mortgage was available, and that was scaled back last year. The change means about 5% of Canadians who wanted to buy a home now will not qualify. And the president of the Lethbridge Real Estate Board says he doesn't think the new borrowing rules will have a significant impact on the local market. According to the latest figures on the residential market, Lethbridge had an average listing price of just over $287,000 in June. While the number of houses on the market is lower than it was in 2011, home sales in the early part of 2012 are up over the same period last year. Real Estate Board President John Beckering says the shorter amortization term will affect some beginning buyers, but overall he expects the changes will have a bigger impact on other segments of the economy.
I think it's going to affect other things that people make purchases on. I think the government's concerned about consumer debt. We all need a place to live, and I think people will spend it on homes, good habitation. And the interest rates being what they are, it's still cheaper than renting.
Beckering says he expects a minimal impact on real estate prices and on home sales in Lethbridge. Well, the stories are tragic and heartbreaking. They're the stories of two young children who died after being placed in foster care. The families of the little girls are now traveling across the province to make sure that their stories are told. Today they were in Lethbridge. Terry Vogt has their story.
There she received 7 broken bones.
Velvet Martin shows a photo album filled with pictures of her daughter Samantha, who was placed in foster care because Child Protective Services decided her medical disability would be too much for the family to cope with. Samantha, who at one point weighed only 50 pounds, died from heart failure at age 13.
There's no repercussions for employees of the ministry when they are negligent, and that needs to change. They can't be above the law.
Martin and another grieving mom, Jamie Sullivan, are now traveling across Alberta, telling the stories of how their children were failed by a system that was designed to protect children. Sullivan's 4-month-old daughter, Delana, died only 6 days after being placed in foster care.
Like, there was never no complaints, there was never nothing. It just, they came in for my roommate's kids. Next thing I know, my daughter's gone. I only had 6 days. I never expected to have any of that happen. We didn't even have a chance to go to court. We didn't have a chance to do anything. It happened so fast.
And then this April 16th, we find out that we had been blatantly lied to as to what actually happened to my granddaughter. And it was only after we received the medical files from the Stollery Hospital in Edmonton that we found out the truth. And that is totally inexcusable.
A spokesman for Southwest Alberta Child and Family Services says they can appreciate the right of families to raise issues because they're grieving. They say with Child Intervention Services, the goal is to work with families in the home, or demonstrate to a judge why supporting the family cannot ensure the safety or well-being of the child. Removing a child or youth from the home, they say, is always a last resort. But these parents say under the Family Enhancement Act, staff have too much power and there's not enough independent accountability. They say their children were protected to death. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Lethbridge Regional Police have made another drug bust, and for the first time, they found heroin being dealt on city streets. In a search of a vehicle and a home, police uncovered heroin, cocaine, drug paraphernalia, a prohibited knife, along with a loaded .22 caliber assault-style rifle. Two Lethbridge residents, 21-year-old Daniel Cook and 18-year-old Brianna Chamber, both face a number of drug charges. The bust was made through Alert. It's a special enforcement unit established by the province to tackle serious and organized crime. We're going to see temperatures at or above normal for the next couple of days. Not a complete rain out, but it's not going to be quite the great hot start to summer.
Well, Jackie, tomorrow, the second day of summer officially, is going to be much like today. Sunny for the bulk of the day. That cloud cover starting to dig in the afternoon, late afternoon and evening hours. A risk of a thunder shower tomorrow night. And then the weekend, we'll just call it variable at this point. Saturday looks like the dampest day, but I'll tell you all the details in just a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. More weather's coming up. A group of Lethbridge officials are busy preparing for a presentation in Calgary next week. The County of Lethbridge, City and Economic Development will take part in the WestJet Regional Airline Presentation Day. Currently, Integra Air and Air Canada fly out of the Lethbridge County Airport. The group is hoping to convince WestJet to set up shop as well. 2 months ago, you may remember that WestJet announced it would buy up to 45 turboprop aircrafts to launch their new regional airline in 2013. County of Lethbridge Reeve Lauren Hickey says attracting WestJet to the region would help grow the airport and complement the existing airlines. He says it would be a huge benefit for the entire region.
We're hopeful that by making a presentation to them, they will evaluate us as one of those communities that would require additional service. I think we have to look at this as not only the County of Lethbridge, but this is a regional thing. This is the City of Lethbridge, the surrounding areas like Raymond, McGrath, and Coaldale and Colehurst. All those communities have a part in this. And it is a service to the region, not to just the county.
So the group is going to have 30 minutes to present to WestJet officials, and if they're selected to move on to the next round, that's when negotiations begin with the airline. The regional airline flights are expected to begin flying sometime to the selected cities next March. Lethbridge residents will get another opportunity to look at the city's new transportation master plan tonight. Last night, dozens of people attended the first of 2 open houses. City Council has been working on the master plan for about 2 years. It'll serve as a guideline for future roadways and transit operations over the next 10 to 30 years. The plan covers everything from cars and trucks to alternate modes of transportation like cycling and walking. Tonight's open house is being held at the Fritzick Gym from 5 until 8:30. Well, there were events throughout southern Alberta today to mark National Aboriginal Day. Hundreds of people gathered in Galt Gardens throughout the day to listen to music, eat food, and just relax. It started with a pancake breakfast, followed by youth activities, a talent show, and a powwow. The day is dedicated to raising awareness of the issues facing Aboriginal people, but local organizers say events like this also bring people of all cultures together.
It's always been important for me that there's to build bridges between 2 cultures who have lived here for the longest time, as we're getting into jubilees and all these anniversaries of we've just been together so long. It's time that we need to sort of break away these stereotypes or sort of those perspectives of each other and really understand and appreciate the cultures.
The celebration at Galt Gardens continues until 8 o'clock tonight, and celebrations were also held in Brockett today with a grand opening of the Crow Lodge Arbor and a competition powwow sponsored by the Piikani Nation Youth Council. And speaking of celebrations coming up, we're going to show you what it's like to spend a day in the life of a firefighter as part of the Lethbridge Fire and DMS Centennial. Meanwhile, financial markets took a beating today on reports of a slowdown in the manufacturing sector in the world's 3 largest economies.